It's time for Levack and Gaz to answer the question, why?
Why? Tell me why?
Why?
It's called Why. We play it every Wednesday right around 4 o'clock. Gaz asks us some questions. We try to make sense of the world. The only real rules are we can't just fire back a quick why not, and we go on and try to have fun and make Gaz upset.
Yes, here we go. The New York Giants hired Dave Gettleman as their new general manager. Levack, why?
Because he's the anti-Reese. He's the anti-Jerry Reese. Like, I've heard Jerry Reese do a million interviews, and each one is more vanilla and bland and annoying than the one before. Gettleman comes out, this is what I'm doing, this is what I want to do. Bobby Hart made me mad, he's gone. And, he's like that grandpa that, like, when you're at the house and you do something wrong, you, like, take his last root beer. And he's like, I got 5 acres and a shovel. Don't mess with me, kid. That's who Dave Gettleman is, and that's who the Giants need.
He's the perfect fit for the job, part of the Giants organization for years before this. Even that whole end in Carolina, still, I'm reading more about it. It doesn't make sense. Why? Because he couldn't hold on to Brandon Beane. There was a mix-up with ownership. Josh Norman. The reasoning's not good enough as to why he left Carolina. He makes sense for the Giants. The move cutting Bobby Hart because he didn't want to play. Loved that. I know him and Jeff Schwartz have battled on Twitter about it, but I'm taking Team Schwartz all the way on that.
You know that's true, yeah.
Right. I'm excited to see what happens from now until draft day for the Giants, of what players they go after in free agency, who they bring into the fold, and why. Dave Gettleman, so far, so good. I like the move. It seems like the right fit for the team. The next one here, why do the Oakland Raiders want John Gruden to be their coach so badly?
I'll tell you why. Because
to be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
He's the man. He's the man. That team was always 500 or better when he was there. They were contenders every single season. He got more out of Rich Gannon than anyone ever could. He is gonna take Derek Carr into his little quarterback confidential lab, and he's gonna work with him. He's gonna hit him with pool noodles. He's gonna have him throw footballs with no laces. He's gonna do all those weird things he does and make Carr an elite quarterback, and the Raider greatness will return. What ended with the Tuck rule will be righted. The Patriots dynasty is over. Silver and black, baby! Woo! Wow. Raider Nation!
I was going to follow up and ask why now, but I guess I'm just going to respond to that.
Because it's time to win, baby! Just win, baby!
There's your answer. The Raider fans want him there. They are dying for Gruden to come back. They want to take down the Patriots. That's the answer. But I'm going to ask it anyways. Why now? Is it because everybody else is interested in Gruden, like Tennessee and Tampa, that they don't want to lose Gruden to somebody else?
2 reasons. It's a nice little way to keep Oakland interested in you, even though you know you're leaving.
That's right.
That's 1. And 2 is he said yes. It's my understanding Mark Davis will. It's like been an open invitation. It's one of those things where, like, you call for the holidays. Hey, John, how you doing? Hope everything's good, man. Wife, all right, cool. Kids good? Yeah. Like, man, I saw your son, the strength trainer. He looks phenomenal. Great, yeah. You want to come back? Every call ends with, you want to come back? So he said yes.
Do you feel for Jack Del Rio at all?
I do.
Because Jack Del Rio got them back to the playoffs.
Good job.
Had one bad season, and he got fired because of Gruden.
Yeah, and that's. So I mean, I know that's not. It probably doesn't make him feel a lot better. But if anything should, it's the fact that he didn't get really fired because of what he did. He didn't get fired for anything he did. It's that the more perfect match came back. Like there's. Gruden is the Raiders.
Del Rio might be interested in Indianapolis. I wonder if that would fit with a quarterback, depending on Luck's future, with Jacoby. If he takes over at AFC South, it's up in the air, right? Interesting to see
with the right staff around him, Del Rio could run any team this league.
Well, let's continue to talk about NFL head coaches. Why did the Cincinnati Bengals extend head coach Marvin Lewis?
Carbon monoxide leak at the headquarters. I mean, he's never won a playoff game. I like Marvin Lewis, and I think that the relevancy that he brought to the Bungles, because remember, they weren't the Bengals when Marvin Lewis took over. They were the Bungles. I respect what he has done. He is definitely a good head coach, but he's the second longest tenured head coach in the league. How many years do we know?
15.
15 years. I've heard coaches say after 10 years your message gets lost. Well, his message was never heard. As far as playoff football goes, I think it's a stopgap move. I think that whoever they want isn't available at this moment, whether it be a Hugh Jackson or somebody else. So you re-up Marvin Lewis for a year or two, and if Hugh Jackson becomes available next year, you pull the trigger and you bring him in, and then you fire Marvin Lewis up into the boardroom.
He was popular in 2003. That's really what it was. Like, you're right, the bungles and everything else, but...
Well, it's that Ravens defense, man. If you were Ravens defensive coordinator, you got a head coaching job.
Yeah, but because he was good in 2003, that's good enough for you to be a coach in 2018. If you give me the college run with that, like, we'll use like Kansas State, for an example. Like, if Kansas State football was banned for so many years, and all of a sudden they became good, okay, I get why you're keeping him around, because you built them up, recruiting, all of that stuff. You're talking about professional sports. This guy has never won a playoff game. Think about telling that to somebody who doesn't follow sports. Hey, the second longest tenured American head football coach in the NFL has never won a playoff game, but he's still there. So why is he there? You can't find anybody else who can win playoff games. Rex Ryan's won 4 playoff games, and he's hanging out on ESPN. But Marvin Lewis is still there.
What about Rex Ryan in the booth for Sunday Night Baseball?
I don't get the move for Marvin Lewis staying there. I know he's a good coach. He's been a good coach in the past. But it feels like the Bengals as a franchise want to take the next step, and almost feels like the relationship. You ever have those buddies where you tell them, like, you should break up with your girlfriend. She is bad for you, but they're convinced they're never going to get better than that girl they're dating right there. Right.
Well, I mean, she has a key. I mean, I might as well just let her stay around for a little while.
I mean, that's not the right answer. The next one is this. Why is Central Florida claiming themselves as the 2017 National College Football Champions?
13-0, baby. 13-0. Hey, the system's broken. As much as it's closer to fixed than it's ever been before with the 4-team playoff, it needs to be an 18 playoff. It needs to be the 5 power conference champions versus 3 at-large bids. At least one of those at-large bids needs to be a team that was 12-0 going into the setup. And it's a great way to do it. I mean, this is a fun way to keep yourself relevant, keep yourself out there, and you lose a coach like Frost, but you can still recruit, because kids are going to look at that and go, well, I can't get into Bama. I could probably get into Texas or Tennessee. Why don't I go to Central Florida and keep rolling with what they've got?
Yeah, and Central Florida could be good. They got a running back who played in the NFL, Latavius Murray. Blake Bortles played college there. They've had Dante Culpepper as well. So they've been able to produce NFL talents, and they're a big enough school in Florida where they could build for the future and be a contender every season. Why they're claiming to do it? Because they are undefeated. And I like your idea there about the 18 playoff. I've heard some people resist with that and say, well, look at March Madness. There's always teams that they're the 69th or 70th best team. They feel like they're left. This is different. Like, this is 8. If you go undefeated, if you don't lose a game, and you don't win a championship, like, that doesn't make sense. I
got to out Woods on this one, because I know that he's speaking for a lot more people. He just wrote a note to me. They've got a linebacker with one hand, and he's legit. Like I watched the UCF South Florida game, and they didn't bring it up once, maybe one time the whole game. I'm like, does that dude have one hand? And is he the best player on the field? Like, kind of thing. And then the next game, can you believe that during because he lost circulation in the hand in the womb.
Yep.
He's a twin. His brother's in the secondary for the Seahawks right now. He lost the umbilical cord tied around his hand, and he lost circulation, so it caused him pain. That's why he had to have it taken off. JPP's out there. We're worried about him with 7 fingers. This guy's got one hand, and he's handling business. It's a great team. It's a great story. I like that they're doing it. I think it's fun.
I got 2 more for you here. Next one. Why isn't Isaiah Thomas playing against the Boston Celtics tonight?
He's just getting back from an injury, and you don't want to play him in back-to-back nights. You want to keep him rested.
Don't give me the right answer.
Yeah. No, the right answer is they don't want Boston to see what they look like with him yet, because they're going to get all the kinks and bugs worked out, and then they're going to romp the Celtics.
Or he doesn't want to hear the Boston fans and the crazy over-the-top media scream out.
They were going to do a video thing for him.
Oh, they were. Tribute. But you know how the local radio and the local TV stations and the social media gets where they're like,
heathens of Boston.
Look how much IT's terrible now. We made the right. He's barely back from an injury. You think Kyrie's that much better than him, even though Isaiah Thomas is 75%, maybe 85%? He might seem as 100% because he looked really good last night, but that's what Boston would have flipped on him real quick, even with the video they would have played. I think he's waiting for that February 11th game, and if Cavaliers continue to play like they did, it's going to be a fun Eastern Conference Finals, likely against Boston. Last one here, Levac. Why have you not bought into Bitcoin with me yet?
I didn't know there was an option to do so. Well, I had, like, was it a year and a half, 2 years ago? I had the opportunity to take in a decent amount of Bitcoin, and I didn't know what the heck it was, so I didn't do it.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
You really did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, wait. Well, a friend of mine had won a substantial amount of money on a website over the NFL season a year ago, and the website, by the time that friend went to collect, would only pay out in Bitcoin. Oh. And that the friend was like, whatever. I don't know what that is.
The final week of the season, if you do not know what Bitcoin is basically a cyber currency where in the future they believe this is how everything's going to be paid. It's not going to be the American dollar. It's not going to be the euro. We're all going to pay with Bitcoin. And I have invested in my head over Christmas break that I've convinced myself and hanging out with some of my friends who are in it, like, this is the greatest invention of all time. So I've invested into Bitcoin, even though...
Hey, how much? So you own a Bitcoin?
I don't own a Bitcoin. I own a percentage of a Bitcoin because originally they were like $500, but in the course of the past year, they're now up to like $18,000. They're back down to like 12. I have less than $1,000 invested in Bitcoin. Yeah, but I could have made a ton of money on it. I still think I can.
My friend would have had $600 worth of Bitcoin about a year and a half ago.
What? You would have made a lot of money. It's never too late, though. You can hop in with me.
35, 40 grand?
It's a lot of money, man. Yeah.
I'm going to go shoot myself. I mean, my friend is going to...
I've been asking everybody about Bitcoin. So
I was watching your Snapchat over the holiday break, and you're like, there's like little kids running around the house with like Transformers and balloons, and you're like, have you heard of Bitcoin? You're the future. And they're like, Uncle Gosh, it's weird.
Children are the future. I had to ask him. All right, invest in Bitcoin if you want, but if you lose money, don't blame me. And if you win, send it to me via Bitcoin.